cop who assaulted an innocent black man found not guilty. Crazy. Check it out.
Well, actually, for I think it's not domestic violence or something, because there's this guy who's beating up on this girl.
And can you give me a description of what he looks like?
This is a 911 call.
He was African American.
Did you see if he had any weapons or he was just choking her?
I didn't see any weapons, but she was trying to get away. And then he came behind her and said, effing be something, you're not going anywhere, I got you now. And then he got her by the waist, he grabbed her by the waist and dragged her the other way.
Come over here. Come over here. Hey, relax. Stay slow. Stay slow. Adam 48. 48. How you doing that? Get on the ground. Hit me, folks. I ain't doing that. I'm not doing anything. Okay. Put it behind your back. Relax. All right. Calm down. I'm not doing nothing. I'm not moving. I didn't do nothing.
He did not do anything. That
Exactly. He did
911
nothing
caller
wrong.
was wrong. He was actually consoling his woman because someone had stole a personal item from her. Put up a picture of Mr. Dakari Spires.
That's the victim right there.
Let's
Innocent
keep
black
that
man.
picture up. A San Francisco jury handed down a not guilty verdict on a police officer accused of
and guess
excessive
what? The
force
jury got it wrong.
in the beating of a black man
The jury
on
screwed up and got
Fisherman's
it wrong.
Wharf more than 3 years ago. Dakari Spires has spent the evening with his fiancée and family at a wine tasting before he was brutally assaulted. Spires was beaten by an officer. His name is Stengel. Let's put up Officer Stengel.
Right there.
Officer Stengel left Mr. Spires wheelchair bound. According to his attorneys, he still walks funny and has not been able to return to work as a delivery driver. The cop is Terrence Stengel, okay? When Stengel and his partner responded to the domestic violence call, which was the 911 call, they encountered Dakari Spires with his girlfriend. Within seconds of arriving on the scene, Spires was on the ground, Stengel delivering at least 7 blows with his metal baton. Remember, Mr. Spires was not guilty of any assault. He committed no assault whatsoever. That cop was found not guilty on 3 counts of brutality, and a mistrial was declared on the 4th count,
mistrial.
which means the jury was deadlocked. Stengel faced 4 felony charges: battery with serious bodily injury, assault with a deadly weapon, assault with force likely to cause great bodily injury, and assault under the color of authority. The prosecution and defense will return to the court Tuesday to resolve the count of assault under color of authority. Some jurisdictions call it color of law. Prosecution or prosecutors can refile the charges, or they can choose to drop them. All right. While felony assault charges are not unusual against civilians, the case against Stengel was momentous for several reasons. It appears to be the first case against an on-duty San Francisco police officer for excessive force, the first. And for many police accountability advocates, the prosecution stands as test for the DA. The campaign pledged to be tougher on cops in cases like this, brutality. The prosecutor, Rebecca Young, said in a closing argument last week that the case had troubling racial undertones, accusing the defense of exaggerating Spires' size and past criminal record, saying it's common knowledge that large, black, powerful men are associated with menace. Many pro-law enforcement groups saw the case as a massive overreach by the DA's office. They have only defended Stengel. They have not only defended Stengel actions, but also said the DA sought to minimize Spire's behavior that night in order to bolster her own case. Now remember, closing argument, Stengel's defense attorney called the trial a political prosecution, accused the DA of being liars, right? There appeared to be an obvious attempt by the defense to paint the DA's office in a poor light. That's according to the record. The young lady in the center of this, she did testify and say, no, there was no physical assault. He was consoling me. He was comforting me because there was an item that had been stolen or lost, and she was emotional about it. The 911 call that comes in, that call is inaccurate. The police, they respond and they ask no questions. They start beating a man who simply does not know why he's being beaten.
Yep.
And he acts as if he doesn't know.
And that
because he doesn't.
Call 911 got
the
it
girlfriend
wrong.
is screaming. She doesn't know why this is happening. The prosecutor does the right thing.
The person called 911 said that the man was trying to choke his girlfriend, which is a lie.
The prosecutor takes this to trial. He gets found not guilty. It's tough to prosecute cops. But there was still one charge that the jury said, there's something here. We cannot say clearly this cop is not wrong. All right, so attorney Adrian Lawrence, I think the jury got it wrong on all of these other counts, but there's one that can still stick. Do you think the prosecution should go forward with another trial or use this as leverage to get a plea deal from the cop?
Well, I think we have to look at, in terms of this last particular charge, what sentence it could carry, because it might be more advantageous to go ahead and get a plea deal if the sentence could end up being probation or something minor and really negligible. But what we really do want to bear in mind is that we want to see justice be done. And there is an incredible amount of issues going on right now in terms of these officers getting away with this misconduct and not facing prosecution. It's very unfortunate as well that the jury there, the representatives from the community, think that that behavior is acceptable, think that it's okay for the officer to have done what he did and to be able to simply walk away and not face any consequences. And I think that that is very much indicative of the problem here. And so if there is a potential civil rights lawsuit, whether it's brought by DOJ or this gentleman, it also needs to be done because there needs to be that message sent that it is unacceptable to enter a situation and simply attack that first black person you see.
Yeah. And let me remind everyone, let's put this up. Miss Brianna Richards, that was the name of the girlfriend. That is the name of the young lady in that video. She testified, and I quote, "He's never put his hands on me, ever," Miss Richards said. Of the man she dated on and off for more than a decade. She reiterated what she told the police that night of the incident, by which time the two were engaged to be married. If Spires had been violent toward her, she would have told the police herself, according to her testimony. She was just as shocked as everybody else when they saw this video and when it happened. The young man was responding in shock.
Yep. And that's the problem as well, too, ladies and gentlemen. That's why sometimes you hear cases like where cops get off or, you know, scot-free or found not guilty or not charged like that. I just did a story yesterday about a cop that's going to get no jail time, 3 years probation for raping a 14-year-old girl over and over. It's like, I think in my mind, you know, a lot of people are so blinded about police brutality, you know, corruption, cops act like thugs because, you know, like badges and guns, you know, hire an actor. People just turn a blind eye. I also think it's because people just don't want to hear about it. People try to make excuses, say, well, the cops are stressed, or people were not, or the person wasn't obeying their commands, and orders like that. No, there are real bad cops out there. It's called, we got to hold accountability, called transparency. Let me bring it one more before I get out of here. I think in my mind, a lot of times when the juries are picked, there's the type of people, you know, that work, you know, they're Susie homemakers and the dads, you know, they're like the pastor, little league coach, like that. They're so dumbfounded. I'm not saying they're stupid, but they look at the law and thinking like, oh, the cops are right, or the person even though it's innocent, oh, they messed up like that. I think it's just dumbfounded. That's why they're going to go like, oh, we found not guilty. Oh, it's a cop. You know, think about that. That's the matter. My job. Peace out.